just finished my first year here, and so I'm here to kind of talk to you guys and see, where's your head at and see which direction you guys are headed in. I think some of you guys are probably expecting me to say, I never thought I would be here. Oh, I grew up in foster care, my life was just so bad, and I never thought that I would be here at UCLA. But that's not the case at all. To be honest with you guys, I always knew that I would be right here. I always knew, okay? So I'm here to tell you guys my story, but also to tell you that my story is no different from your story. I was in foster care by the time I was 6, so that's not anything surprising. They put me in a place called McLaren Hall. Has anyone heard of that place? Yeah. And it was shut down in 2003 because there was a lot of bad things going on there. And I was about 6, I think my brother was 7, and I remember it used to be a juvenile hall. So it was cells that they put the kids in if they didn't have anywhere else to put them. But the building itself was actually a juvenile hall. So it looks like a jail, okay? And even then, I knew I was going to make it out. I knew that I would be here. I had a parent who struggled with substance abuse. I'm sure that's not anything surprising to anyone. For 24 of 30 of the years of my life, my mom was a stone cold heroin addict. Just got sober a couple years ago. So that's nothing surprising. I'm sure that's probably the same as you guys' story. I had a parent who was in and out of prison, my father, for selling dope. Is that anything surprising? No. So he's going to jail, he'll come out, we go to foster home, we bounce around. Okay, that was the next thing I went through. Bouncing from home to home to home to home, from your own home to another foster home to a group home, losing your friends, losing touch with your siblings, okay? Nothing surprising, okay? And then I spent a large portion of my childhood in the inner city, in Compton. Nothing new, okay? So I went to Compton, I was 14. That was actually me leaving out of foster care. But I went to live with my grandmother, and our situation was worse. I had never lived in Compton before, so I'm 14 years old. I'm going to Centennial High School. They're gang banging. There's all kind of stuff going on, and I'm like, man, I was probably better off in foster care in Riverside where I was. So you do what you have to do. You start hanging out with them, okay? You start doing all the things that you know you shouldn't be doing, hanging out with all the people that you know you shouldn't be hanging out with. But it was really just a survival technique, okay, just so I would fit in. I was talking their talk, but I was not about to walk their walk. I had my own agenda, I had my own plan, I knew I was going to be here, so yeah, I would hang out with them and do what I had to do to fit in, but I knew exactly where I was going. Okay, so by show of hands, how many of you, out of those 5 things I went through, in foster care at a young age, parent who's on substance abuse, parent who's in and out of prison, bounced around from home to home, or grew up in the inner city, if any of those things apply to you, raise your hand. Okay, so that's my point. My story is just like his story, it's just like her story, okay? And our story is actually just like their story. All those outsiders that you think don't understand you because they haven't been through foster care and they don't know what you guys are going through, their story is just like our story. I have a lot of friends, never been in foster care a day in their life, and their lives were way worse than mine. Okay? So I'm not here to tell you a sob story about, oh, I was in foster care and things were so bad. I'm going to tell you how you need to get where you need to get, okay, and what things you need to do. First lesson I learned was to stop feeling sorry for myself. So when I was 17, I got accepted to Howard University. How many people have heard of Howard? Okay, HU, all right, in Washington, D.C. On the plane, first time, 17, poor little foster kid, crying. Just straight crying, okay? Now, mind you, I'm in first class. Not because I have money, but because the county paid for that, okay? So they messed up my ticket the day before, and to compensate, they put me in first class. That was my first time on a plane. I didn't even know in the ball, crying. I get there, okay? I'm looking at all the other kids. They have their parents here. Their parents flew in with them. They got SUVs and suitcases. And it's just me with my little one suitcase, okay? $400 in my pocket that I saved over the summer. And they accept this letter. I don't know where to go. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm here. So I get there, and all I want is just, I want somebody to be there with me. I want somebody to stand in the financial aid line with me. I want somebody to take me to Target and get me comforters. That wasn't going to happen. So after crying and calling home and wanting to go home and feeling sorry for myself, I just have to stop crying. Because all the tears in the world is not going to change the situation. It just won't. I could have cried and cried and cried. It wasn't going to change the fact that I hadn't talked to my mom in years, didn't know where she was. My dad had just went back to prison, left my brothers and sisters at home in Compton, and I could cry and it was never going to change. So that's the first lesson you have to learn, is to stop feeling sorry for yourself. All those tears will not change your situation. Okay? Now, let's talk about the adults in your life. These adult supporters, these peer counselors. I know what it's like when you're a foster kid, okay? An adult says they're going to help you, and you're just suspicious. Like, why do they want to help me? What's in it for them? Okay? Because you probably had a foster parent who said they were going to be there for you and let you down, right? You probably had a social worker that said they were going to look out for you, a judge that said they were going to protect you, and they didn't. Your own parents probably told you that they were going to be there for you, and they were not. So obviously, I'm not telling you to trust every single adult that reaches their hand out to help you, okay? What I'm saying is this. If anybody gives you guys a small opportunity, you need to take that opportunity and run with it. It's like, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. You get to test out college. You get to test drive college. How many of you guys know what happens at a test drive? What's a test drive? Okay, what happens? With the car? Okay. Okay, he said you get to drive a car that you never really get to drive on a daily basis, okay? Let me tell you what happened on my first test drive. I wanted this Infiniti G35. I had my head set on it all through undergrad. If I graduate with over 3.0, when I get my nursing license, I am going to get an Infiniti, okay? So I go to the dealership. Normally, the salesperson comes out with you, they get in the car with you, you drive around, they show you how the car is, you know, you test drive it out. I was a foster kid, okay? I never knew anyone that legally purchased a car before. I never knew what a test drive was. So when he gave me the keys and said, I'll meet you out front, I dipped off. I didn't wait for the salesman. I was gone. Okay? Windows down, music up, my locks in the wind. I'm feeling myself. I'm just going, okay? Then I get to like a light and the truck is trying to turn and I need to back up. But I don't know how. So I'm like, oh my God, so I'm fumbling for my cell phone. I look at my cell phone, there's 4 missed calls. I answer the phone and he's like, I'm going to call the police. You stole my car. And I'm like, no way, I don't know how to reverse. It was just crazy, okay? So my point is this. I have a point, stick with me, okay? The counselors are the salesmen. This is your test drive. You can't go without them, okay? So you have to be open to the opportunity, and any small window of opportunity that they give you, you got to run with it, okay? So they said 3% of youth who spend time in foster care will make it to college. So I know it's the first day, but let's test our skills out. If it's 100 foster kids sitting in here, how many of them will go to college? 3. Okay, so stand up. What's your name? Come on, stand up. Stand up, not option. Stand up. What's your name? Kenny. Kenny's going to college. Stand up. Yes. Edward. Edward and Kenny are going to college. Stand up. Edward. Stand up. be part of that 3%? Just stand up, stay standing.